Hi, I'm Heather from Renegade Upcycled Goods. I laid my willow branches out on my deck to dry for a couple of days in the sun. It hasn't been rainy at all. There's a little dew at night, and that's about it. So they're pretty dry. They shouldn't grow. So I feel safe using these as stakes in the ground now. I picked out 4 to start with to protect a tree that I'm going to take the small cage off of. Since they're not very thick to begin with, I'll point the thick end just a little bit at the tip so that I can stab it in the ground hopefully and not have it break. I have a pocket knife. You could use a utility knife or a, I don't know, any kind of smooth knife. I don't know about serrated. And just kind of whittle the ends. There's a good point on that. I don't want too fine of a point that will snap off easily, so I think that's pretty good. This one has a little knotted area, so it might not cut very easily there. I might need to bevel it more this way. We'll see. So far, so good. Be sure not to cut toward yourself. You want to cut away from yourself. And you don't want to have, say, your other leg right where you're going to end either. You don't want to have any part of your body that you might hit with a blade. I don't want too fine of a tip because it'll just snap off. That'll be pretty good though. I planted this hawthorn a couple of years ago. It was a little tiny sapling from Arbor Day Foundation, and it has this little metal cage wrapped around near the bottom. It has this pokeberry weed growing inside the cage. It's very hard to weed in the cage when it's so small and it's hard to get your arms in there, especially since hawthorn has long needle-like thorns. And it's hanging way outside the cage at the top. And I don't want the mowers to mow it down or break it. That happened, I think, to the other hawthorn I had planted. And it's much smaller than this one now. So I'm going to take this cage off and use my new willow stakes. I do have rose pruning gloves that are leather and come all the way up about here, I think, but I didn't bring them down with me, so hopefully this will be good enough. I may need, ow, maybe not good enough. And I think I also might need some pliers to unwrap this. I have my pocket knife I can use to help pry these open. I'll use the back of the knife, maybe. There. Ow! Ooh, that bush. Come on, get in there. I'm trying not to press the blade up against the wire, just the back. That is a sharp plant. Oh good, now I can use the cage itself to help pry some of these wires apart. Now I can get some leverage on some of them. There we go. Oops. Hopefully you're still here with me. Yeah. Okay, now I can weed this a little bit. It's got some wild strawberries, some dead branches. And I've got this pokeberry. Oh my, that came up unusually easily. So that should be coming back. This is just mulched with pine needles from the surrounding trees. Looks like there's another pokeberry. Oh yeah, it's on the other side. Oh, that one's more entangled in all that prickly nastiness. Let's see if I can get it up without getting hurt. Ooh, came up pretty well too. And this looks like some sort of an apple tree or something. I don't know. It needs to go. Okay. Just pull out these live strawberry plants so they don't re-root in here. Okay. Kind of trim this grass down around. Oops. Knife. Now that I took the small cage off from when this was a little sapling and weeded the bed a little bit and kind of trimmed down the grass that was right around the outside. I'm ready to put the new stakes in. These are the stakes that I just carved a little bit of a tip on. It's been very dry lately, so I watered this area a little bit a few minutes ago in hopes that it would make it easier to put the stakes in. This is a very rocky area though, so I could still hit rocks that get in the way. Something got me. It might be hard to pound these in because they're curved, but it's going surprisingly well, all considered. This is just a rubber mallet. I'm pounding them in pretty far to make sure they don't come out. I might want to get a 5th stake for this. Maybe put a stake here and maybe get another stake and put it over there. So I'm going to add another stake. Then I could wrap wire around a stake, go to the next stake, wrap it around, or string, or a cage, and use ties to tie the cage to the stakes, or a bright ribbon or caution tape or something could be tied from one stake to the other, or tied just in little bows on the tops of the stakes to make a bright color that alerts the mowers. And it's pretty freaking prickly too, so you do want to stay away from it. So in the meantime, I'm going to have to make one more stake real quick. As you can see, the stakes pounded into the ground really easily. I've done that without making a point on the end of the stake before, and pointing the end definitely makes it a lot easier, and it only takes a few minutes and a sharp knife. So I highly recommend doing that. Have you turned branches, willow branches or any other kind, into garden stakes? If so, how did that work for you? Let me know in the comments below. See you later.
Check me out on Facebook.